Hello there and welcome back to Satisfactory. Yes, we're back on Satisfactory once again, going to be continuing a single player playthrough on 1.1. But first, I would like to thank and welcome all of the newest subscribers that we had gained over the last week and over the weekend. You guys are awesome. And also to thank you to the people that have stuck with me thus far. You guys are also awesome. It is great to see the channel continuing to grow. You know, everybody hitting that like button, the subscribe button, all the wonderful comments, and of course, the people hitting the join button to join the Investors team and support the channel financially. Huge thank you to them as well as they continue to do that. If you went here last time or last week, we had gotten the Supercomputers factory up and running. That is the massive tower in the center of the grasslands, the one that's over 400 meters tall, which is quite crazy. We finally got that factory done because we put the manufacturers in the top of the tower and got everything belted and everything running, as well as we closed up a lot of the visual features that we're going to be having. So yeah, and I also got some news I will share with you in just a little bit. But yeah, everything is seems to be going quite well and whatnot. So yeah, I guess without further waste of your time, let's go ahead and hop on into it. Let's go. Alrighty then, and here we are. So a little bit of a shorter intro, and you probably noticed that this episode did not go out on a Monday, unfortunately, which is not going to be the case, of course. So I've got I had a couple of big things happen for the channel, which is really awesome. First things first, the battery factory is going to be a little bit of a different type of project. We will be revealing that shortly. Probably within the next few days. I'm not 100% sure about that, so don't quote me on it. But yeah, here in the next few days, hopefully we'll be revealing what's going on with the battery factory. But I won't say any more than that, of course. The other thing that had happened was one of the things I am very honored to have happen to me is the content creator Gaming with Doc, or Doc as he is also known, the one that makes all of the wonderful tutorials and shorts here on YouTube about Satisfactory and all the wonderful information that he shares. He decided to do a little bit of a kind of a tour of my world here. So I gave him the save for this world so that he could review it, and that is on one of his live streams. So yeah, very honored for him to have done that, and shout out the channel. So very, very huge thank you to him and his son Robert for bringing more attention to my channel, which is like I said, very awesome. Very very honored to have that happen. So if you'd like to check him out, he will be down on my main YouTube page underneath the friendly content creator section. I've got him up there, Gaming with Doc, as well as you can also find me in the Discord on his Discord. You can find me in the community there. I'm often hanging out, having a good time and all that stuff. So, and sometimes you'll get a little bit of early content, me posting videos of factories and all that stuff. So yeah. That a few huge things happen for the channel, and had to postpone the Monday episode, which I know we normally do Monday through Friday, so we'll make that up somewhere along the week, I'm sure. We'll have either a double episode or push it into Saturday. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so we've got a little bit of work to do. So I know that we are going to be starting on the battery factory this week. But as I had just stated, that is going to be pushed later on. So we're going to go ahead and head over to the grasslands loop, because we've got some work to do there. And we get to finish up basically the base of the supercomputer factory, and then we have to get started on rail lines going over to the blue crater, because that's where the battery factory is going to be. So we got to get started on that. That way we can get the supercomputers up and fully running automatically, because right now we're just kind of feeding them with batteries at the moment, because we're using the super state computer recipe. Now it's going to be a little bit laggy going over here as we load new biomes and stuff like that. So you can see. Yeah, got a good world going on so far. I don't know what we're gonna do here very soon, because I've noticed that over the last couple weeks the game has definitely gotten worse as far as frame rate loss and stuff like that. So just a lot going on. So I don't know what we're gonna do when we get to phase 5. It might be pretty interesting. We might be tearing down certain things to kind of lighten the load, or you know stuff like that. I'm hoping nothing like that'll happen, but we shall see. As you can see, there's our supercomputer tower, though. We've got the manufacturers. I'll show you kind of what we did last week. A little bit of a tour of this tower specifically. As long as I don't crash into it. That was close. Alright, cool. I'll swap over to our hover pack, of course. Let's go ahead and go into the elevator. So this one I was actually quite proud of as well, because it's... Oops, wrong button. It was actually pretty nice. Pretty nice of a tower here. So if we go into here... Yeah, so we've got our manufacturers all in kind of a circle-ish thing. There's 8 of them doing supercomputers. Yeah, we're using the superstate computer recipe, because that one was the best available one. Of course, we got the glass tower and all that stuff, so very, very nice. And if we head in this elevator down here, we can go down the tower, of course. Got so much music going on. Oh, wait. Go to that one. Ah, whatever. That's the logistics floor there. As you can see, we've got all of our belts and stuff. And of course, you can... Oh.
They're pretty nice, right? Customizable, functional, they have indicator lights. The full package. I think they're neat.
Good for you, Ada. Don't know what she's on about buttons. Yeah, I like to push her buttons. And that's all I'll say about that. Alright, yeah, we got a great view out here. Of course, it's going to get dark here soon, but yeah, got all these factories as well. I know you guys already had like a little bit of a tour of this area just a little bit ago. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a tour for the beginning of this one. Yeah, but as you can tell, so I've got 2 full elevators pretty much as far as the height of this tower goes. So if you take, 192 plus whatever that other one was, and then plus the extra bit on top, we're roughly over 400 meters tall with this tower. So that's pretty nice. You can see the materials in behind there. Kind of, the reflections aren't the greatest in this game. Oops. And on down we go. So yeah, like I said, today we're going to try and finish this, we're going to try and finish the base of this particular factory. So hopefully we can get her done. We're not going to do anything too spectacular with it, but I would like to do something somewhat nice to kind of finish it off. The train stations are going to stay uncovered out here. I just think it's a little bit... They look a little bit better when they're uncovered, so... Yeah, for this particular build, we just can't go higher than this yellow block, but once we get that done, then we can remove that yellow block. And like I said, yeah, we need to... if you guys remember over at the cooling systems factory, right near there, there's a T-junction that is going to be going down towards the blue crater, and I want to eventually hook that up, so... And get that going down towards the blue crater so that when the battery factory is, done doing whatever it's doing, then we can hook it up and get it supplied as well. So it's gonna be the same style of stuff. But anyway, so yeah, let's see what we can do with this base. So this side of the base, we've got these slopes, which we had to incorporate these slopes to incorporate the rail line that went underneath it. And I was just like, you know what? I like these slopes. So why don't we use that as part of the design? Of course, and we're going to go ahead and take out a blueprinter. This is going to lag my game horribly, but, make sacrifices. Like, Hindenburg! Yeah, we're only working with the Mark II still. Yeah, so we're not in phase 5. But this factory is done. So all that's left is the battery factory and the turbo motors, I believe. And then that's it for everything else. So the assembly directory system is this one, we've already got this factory done, and we just finished this one, so we're ready for that one. The magnetic field generators, which is the next one there, we have both those factories ready, so all we gotta do is build the factory for the magnetic field generators and wait for this autosave to finish. There we go. And then if we go over to the thermal propulsion rockets, the only thing left that we have is the turbo motors factory. We have everything else. And we can do any of the turbo motor recipes, whatever's the best as far as stuff coming in. We can definitely do that. Now, I have been leaning towards the turbo pressure motor, but I'm not 100% sure. The turbo electric motor would also be okay, but we're using a lot of those radio control units already. So we might end up leaving those out. But the turbo pressure motor seems like a decent one, because we do have a factory making the liquid tanks, or I call them pressure tanks, because I mean they are pressure tanks, but whatever. So we got that. And then if we go over to nuclear pasta, well, can I I can do this. Nope, I can't go down anywhere. I can't go down any further. That's interesting. What if I go up? Nope. Okay, well, then we'll have to do it in the codex. Nuclear pasta. We have both these factories. This factory got done last week with the finishing of the radio control units, so that factory's maxed out. And yeah, so we're getting pretty close to the end of phase 4. Once we hit phase 5, though, we're going to take a little bit of a break from the factories. We're going to work on our headquarters and stuff like that. So headquarters where the hub is going to be permanently with the man, with the workbench, the tool bench, and the space elevator as well. I definitely want to build a main building that incorporates all 3 of those things. I think that'd be really cool. Okay. Wait, did I delete the? I did. I'm an idiot. Hold on. That's how it goes. Let's see. Do we have enough power over here? We do not. All right. Let's grab some power. Not too long. There we go. Right now we should be able to build somewhat. Put one in this corner. There we go. Alright, so basically what I got to do is I got to come up with a design for this particular build. Now I had some ideas, and I think I came up with one that might work. That's going to incorporate these walls here. But since the the other side doesn't have the walls yet, so okay, so it's 2 of these, right? And how many of these roughly do we want to also incorporate into that? We're probably gonna do concrete walls. That would make the most sense. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And we'll go 6. We'll go 6, and then that should cover most of it. If not, we'll have to do some stuff. But all right. So then, yep. Take these back to take those to concrete as well. Okay. Well, yeah. We're gonna have to do 5. And we'll just have to... We'll have to make we're gonna have to make another blueprint anyway. So... Alright. Tilted wall. That's a whoopsie by me. Alright, so now I've got to take this wall and I've got to make it interesting. So, yeah, I guess let me make it interesting real quick. We'll figure out a way. What I might do is I might do a section of 5. I think a section of 5. It depends on how long the foundation is. So whether we do a section of 2 or a section of 5. So we'll measure this out using the F key and see how many foundations this is wide. $37. Really? 37. That should be 38, actually. That is interesting. Unless I didn't. Maybe I didn't count the end one. No, it should be 38 because it's centered on 2. So it should have the exact same amount on each end. Why is this? Oh, it is 37 because of that. Wait, does it need to be 37? No. Okay, so 36. Okay, so 2. All right. Well, we could do 4. Yeah, let's do 4. Yes, that should work. Oops. Alrighty. Yep. Now that we've got that in place, let me make this interesting real quick. Alrighty then, I think we finally got something we might be happy with. Of course, we gotta put it on the actual factory in order to make it happen, of course. We need to see if this will fit. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to put the lines down just because there's some weird angles in here, but it does seem to have worked out for the most part. We'll just have to add some extra lines in here, of course. Alrighty. So I think, yeah, it'll be a nice bottom, just kind of, you know, not super crazy detailed, but not too bad either. And as we did say, yeah, this one, there's one too many foundations over here. It needs to be 36, not 37. We may have to, like, cut that one down to do a, there we go. Yeah, got a little bit of lag going on. I guess we'll zoop these over. Get our supports back. Okay. Oh, and I haven't even saved this blueprint yet. I guess we'll go ahead and save it. Oop, this caps locked on. It was supercomputer tower. Okay. Dicon. Supercomputer, select. Alright, let's go ahead and save. And let the chaos unfold of placing this. Oh boy. This is, it's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be laggy as all heck. As we'll soon find out. We need to get rid of all of this as far as the... I didn't actually select that. No, okay, good. Alright. We may have to relocate that power. That one's powering the whatchamacallit, the doodads and the whatnots. But we're going to have to make 2 new blueprints as well. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Yeah, we'll leave that wall there. I want to continue this little slope piece so that our train station is still encased. And into zoop mode, of course. Run that along. Okay. There we go. so the blueprint we just made. Oh, I haven't upped the number yet, so hopefully we don't crash. But yeah, oh, so one of the things is we have recently started crashing again with the Unreal Object Limit. Now you may think, oh, that's a terrible thing. Holy crap. It's like, you know, it's not that bad, to be honest. I did not up the number to a crazy amount, so I only basically doubled it, essentially. And it's not exactly 100% true, but close enough. Close enough. Is this correct? Or is this correct? I don't remember. No, that does not look correct. That looks correct, though. I think that's correct. Okay. And I made this blueprint to be kind of self-connecting. That way we don't have to make any kind of weird ones or anything like that. Okay. That should work there. Yeah, that ain't bad. It's going to be very blue. Ebony. Yes. Like I said, hopefully we don't crash while placing this. Nope. Oh wow, we're out of encased industrial beams. Holy crap. Wait. Oh no, we're good. Okay, it's like, wait a minute, is there 2 sets? Never mind. Yeah, it's using a lot of materials. Usually we don't run out of that stuff, but I don't know. You definitely see the concrete factory is trying its hardest. It's got 10 uploaders on it. So that's it's uploading what? I don't know. I don't know the number. It's good, but it does have 10 uploaders on it. And it's got enough the factory does have enough to actually keep up with that, so factory is pretty crazy. Yeah. Definitely gonna take a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Oh, perfect. So we don't have to make any special ones for that. Oh my gosh, look at, you know what's funny is because I'm using billboards have the most amount of lumen out of everything else. This is all billboards, by the way, except for these little stripe pieces, of course. Honestly, I could have dealt without the stripe pieces. That's fun. That's too funny, though. Yeah, just 2 more, and then we can call that. And it's actually putting a border on the edge of the rail line. So it's actually putting a border around it, which is actually really nice. That was kind of intended. I say kind of because I didn't exactly plan it. I was like, yeah, we'll put a little top piece on there, just kind of round off the top portion, and then it's just like after, now that we place this, like, oh yeah, that works perfect. Just works just fine. Okay, and then 1 more. And then we got to build the long pieces that go along the wall's edge here. Yeah. I don't really want to be messing with that rock, but... Why is this train waiting? Why are you waiting? What? Oh, did he already reserve... No freaking way. The rods reserved that intersection already. That's pretty crazy. This is the wire train. This is the wire train? No, this is a computer's train. Wait, where are you going? Oh, you're going to the... Yeah, that's right. Going to the other side. Yeah, that's the computer's train. The computers are still working on catching up because, yeah, with the way this works out. Oh yeah, and somebody did ask me as well. They asked me, how do you keep the trains efficient in your world? And it's like, there's a couple of things to that question. It's not exactly just well, I do this and then that's 100% true. So when it comes to traffic, every intersection in my entire rail network that spans across the map, every single intersection has one of these, which is a pass signal, so that the train can reserve the intersection. And this keeps trains flowing traffic-wise. It may slow them down just a little bit, but with block signals, you can end up what's called deadheading, which when you get deadheading is when two trains are trying to enter the same intersection at one time. One gets in there slightly more than the other, but it's like I don't know, it's very strange. Sometimes two trains will try to enter that intersection. One will enter, it'll kind of block it, but that train hasn't quite crossed over to continue going. So it goes, oh, now that I'm basically blocking myself, essentially. You have two trains trying to enter one intersection, and sometimes it'll cause that, as well as if you get too many trains like kind of locked up on one intersection, where they just kind of lock themselves in a basically circle where one can't move without the other, but that one can't move because of this train, and that train can't move because of that train, and it just so on and so forth. You'll get deadheading like that as well. But also with pass signals, that does kind of spread the trains out just a little bit. So the trains the trains may have to wait slightly longer, but they'll be a little more spread out. So once they get going in a line away from higher traffic areas, then they can just go, and usually the trains won't have to stop at any point there going along that line. But that's one of the ways I keep it. And also I overwhelm the system. So when it comes to overwhelming the system, we're waiting for the stuff to kind of get back into the whatchamacallits. But one of the ways you can make that happen when it comes to overwhelming the system is having bigger trains. Having a single car train isn't really gonna, unless you got a factory that needs very little. A single car train's not going to do you any good. That train station is definitely going to empty out before the train makes another round, unless the other train station is very, very close. Like I said, unless you're using very little, a single car train could definitely work in that scenario when it's like, oh, well, I need like 30 of this or 40 of that. It's like single car train, that brings in so much, it just overwhelms it anyway. But even with me doing numbers in the hundreds to numbers in the thousands, that particular thing is overwhelmed by the trains being so long. The 5-car trains seem to be a really good mix between taking up space and being able to keep up with a lot of different factories. Also, is that nudging correctly? Yeah, it is. Okay. Just keep going. Hopefully it didn't nudge all the way over before it bugs out and decides to nudge at an angle. That would be nice. Yeah, something like that. Actually, don't know. I'll have to look. See how much on this side's revealed. But yeah, overwhelming the system. If you set up a train, right, to a specific factory, and that train station is emptying out before the train makes its round to drop off more, you got several different options there, or a few different options that you can do. First things first, I would recommend elongating the train, giving another car, and then seeing if the train keeps up after having 2 cars drop off full of materials rather than just one. And if that still doesn't work, then maybe go for a 3rd car. And you kind of had to experiment with this. Obviously, everybody's world's going to work out differently with the type of materials. There is no real answer. Like I said, 5-car trains seem to do pretty well with a decent-sized factory that is like 500 to 1,000 per minute, roughly. That's just a spitball number. That's not a particular number that I know of. It, like I said, just a spitball number there. So yeah, you've got that, and then okay, that looks like that. As well as if let's say you got a 3-car train and it's not keeping up, and you don't have the space to go any longer, The other option that you have is a second train. But this also has a little bit of a caveat to it. If your factory that is producing the stuff is not producing more than enough for that factory, if you're producing exact numbers, you're going to run into issues no matter what you do. Running exact numbers when it comes to trains is extremely difficult, if not damn near impossible to make it work correctly. Like if you're like pulling 1,000 plastic for a factory and you're making 1,000 plastic for that factory and you have like 500 to 1,000 meters, maybe you have 2,000 meters in between. Well, maybe that's a bit much, but yeah, whatever. Let's just say you had a decent distance. The train time to make that round is going to be longer than it's going to take for that plastic to empty. The plastic's going to empty the train and stuff like that. Now, like I said, you can do a second train, and that will definitely, that could definitely potentially help. But with it, when it comes to exact numbers, trains are just not, they're not as good as a belt when it comes to exact numbers. If you're running exact numbers, a belt is a better option, of course. But you also got to think about, okay, well, what's the distance? You know, if the distance is like 500 meters, I would say probably go with the belt. But yeah, definitely I always produce more than I need. And this is a good idea for most factory builds. Do not ever, don't produce the exact amount of what you need. Produce a bit more. It doesn't take much, to calculate, well, if I have a factory that's producing 1,000 of this and I need 1,000, why don't I just, add an extra machine or whatever and produce just a little bit more, and you'll have a way easier time with trains or with any kind of situation really in Satisfactory. You'll have a lot easier time when it comes to doing that by basically overbuilding a little bit. Now me, I go crazy especially when it comes to trains. As you see, all my builds are like insanely overdone. Like I produce so much when it comes to my factories. I produce so much that I don't need to worry about it, and that's the other way I keep my trains so well. I don't know what you want to call it, but it basically keeps my trains efficient. Because when it comes to trains, you need to kind of overwhelm your system a little bit in order to make the trains super useful. And that also goes roughly the same type of deal when it comes to liquids. Liquids are a lot harder to get right when it comes to trains. If I had any advice, there we go, when it comes to liquid trains, is buffers after your train station, between your train station and your factory's pipe network. This is because we all know that when a train is loading or unloading, it pauses, and I think it's roughly 10 to 12 seconds. I can't remember. I timed it one time. But especially if you're using a lot of liquid, your pipe network is not going to be very happy with you constantly emptying it every time that train goes to unload. Yeah, pipe networks, if you want a super efficient pipe network, the pipes are going to be full. So yeah, that's just one of those things. Pipe networks do not like to be emptied. They do not like to be half full. They like to be 100% full pipe all the way through. And then the pipe network works flawlessly if the pipes are full. But you need to create that. You need to have that situation in order to be successful when it comes to that. Okay, perfect. We now have the sides on. Okay, I'm gonna remove this block because we're not gonna be using it anyway. Alrighty, so now we just need to get the front and back ends, and then we have to work on the inside, of course. Oh, and I need to go in here and carve out a door out of this blueprint. And I'll have to remove some of this. I'm going to have to put railings up here so that these guys don't get up into my train stations. I'm going to have to put railings or something. Some kind of fencing to make sure they can't get up there. Unless he can't get up here at all. I don't know, actually. But yeah, that's, those are a few things that I use to do that. Oh, the other thing about trains being efficient. Dual rail lines. Dual rail lines everywhere. Try to stay away from bidirectional rails, which if you don't know what a bidirectional rail is, a bidirectional rail is basically a train that can go both directions on the single rail line. That bidirectional rail, if you're trying to mix in with one-way trains and bidirectional rails, you can have issues. And bidirectional rails are not really good for a lot of traffic. Like if you were to take my world and all my trains and have a single rail line that's bidirectional rail, or even a dual rail line that's bidirectional rail, you would have a lot of traffic issues because they just don't work when it comes to super high traffic. When it comes to that, so definitely do a dual rail system, single way each direction. So I got one rail line on this side, one rail line going on the other side going the opposite way. And that solves a lot of traffic issues. So that keeps that dual rail lines allow for very high volume when it comes to rail lines. I mean, they might get slowed down a little bit, like normal street traffic, but yeah, dual rail lines are definitely the way to go. If you're planning on using a lot of trains, if you plan on using very little trains and you're like going to use trucks or drones or anything like that, then yeah, bidirectional rails are fine. But for me, my world, high traffic, dual rail lines all the way. And make lots of different ways to go for your trains. Don't have a single way that they can go and that's it. Try to build loops or shortcuts, I mean, all over my world, I've got rail lines going across the map, going in different directions to different biomes and stuff like that. And if the trains have got options, they're always going to choose the shorter route, unfortunately, but you can kind of help that along by having multiple ways for the train to choose to go, and then that can kind of alleviate a little bit of traffic. Alrighty, so now that I got the sides on this, the only thing left is to design the front and back side piece. The front and backside pieces, I'm not really sure exactly what I'm going to do. I could carry the lines around, but it's all going to be flat, so I don't know. Maybe I'll come up with a new, we'll come up with a new blueprint, like a blueprint piece for this, and then a blueprint piece going all the way across. And that'll probably help. I can get rid of these foundations, really. I'll probably put in walls as well, just to kind of cover that space up. But yeah, I would like to get this factory done so we can move on to other projects, of course. Alrighty then, so finally got all of this pretty much done. I think I'm going to leave it here for now, pretty much. Still got supercomputers being made out of all those batteries we got last time. They're still filling up the train station. But yeah, now that we have lights here, I also have an interior wall so that you can't see all the little extra bits, all the empty spaces and stuff like that. So it looks pretty good, and it's all lit, so you can kind of see what you're doing on what's going on down here, what you're doing and stuff like that. Got the train station named properly as well as we got our slope that leads out to the to this way. This is going to be a lot of custom track going down here. Of course, it's going to go down this way, all the way down this canyon and underneath that bridge over to that way. So yep, and then we've got our sides on. Of course, we just done that, but yeah, got the tunnel built for that particular side, as well as we go over here to our particular edge on each end, and we've got the sides on. I decided just to go simple with the angled bit, and we'll just go like that. And these are the full sides at least. And then of course it cuts in the middle here. I did have to put a little beam because I got rid of the foundation I'm just going to leave the top of this concrete like it is. The other thing I wanted to do real quick before we call this done is I want to put in some railing, of course. Make it a little safe, you know? At least somewhat safe, anyway. There we go. Gotta cover that up because you will have people walking around up here, so of course, to go up and see the sights up in the tower. Definitely don't want anybody falling off onto the tracks down below, especially because these are electronic tracks, you know? These are... I'd say these tracks are probably more dangerous with the way it works. They seem to be more dangerous than like your average subway where you got the third rail. These tracks, I don't even know how they get powered. Maybe they get powered through the wheels, or because they don't have a third rail. You know, there's no railing to actually provide power to the train, but the train runs on power somehow. So maybe I don't know. Maybe they've mastered the art of wireless power, and they're just sending out signals to each of these trains for power. I did have to rebuild this intersection once because I got that stupid bug. Where it wasn't connected properly because I had to rebuild partial of it, so you got to rebuild the entire thing. But it's all working now, and everything seems to be working pretty well. I think I'm going to go ahead and leave this here, and we'll leave this here for today as well. But yeah, I think I'm happy with this factory. Now that the bottom piece is on, and we got everything lit down there, and you got the sides on. And all that stuff. We'll go ahead and clear up this blueprinter over here. It's like, yeah, other than that, I'm pretty happy with the way this one turned out as well. The bottom piece actually turned out a bit more, it turned out a bit better than I thought it would, to be honest. It's pretty simple, but it works. You know, it doesn't draw too much attention away from the tower. Obviously, the tower draws a lot of eye attention. Going up there. So the next particular portion, next time, I don't exactly know what we'll be doing. Probably rail lines for right now. And we'll get around to, let's go clear that. We'll get around to doing other projects later, I think. But we definitely need to get working on the rail line that goes out to the blue crater, so then once that one project is done, once that one project is done, then we can then hook up our rails to it and have this factory up and going like it's supposed to, rather than relying on me just hand feeding it. So, but yeah, that seems pretty good. Of course, we also need to build the rail line down through the canyon down to there so we can get started on our phase 4 stuff. But there's only 2 factories left before we can start working on phase 4 factories that we need. One is a supercomputer factory, or sorry, one is the battery factory for the supercomputers, and then one is the turbo motor factory, which I haven't decided where I'm going to put the turbo motor factory yet. I haven't decided on a spot. Obviously, we've taken up the grasslands, pretty much almost all the space. I don't really want to build any more in this particular area just because of how many. I mean, we still got 2 other factories that are planned not too far away from here. The spot's already picked out for those. And yeah, definitely don't want to put any more in this particular biome. So we'll find out a place for the turbo motors at some point as well. But I think, though, I do believe... Oh yeah, look at that. It glows like crazy down there. That is insane. But I do believe this is going to be it for this episode of Satisfactory. So, yeah, like I said, next time, rails. We'll see what happens. Get those rails built and stuff like that. And get to moving on to building phase 4 factories here soon. So, but yeah, like I said, that is going to be it. So I do hope you enjoyed. Oh, and before you go, I'd like to give a huge shout out and thank you to all of the investors you can see on your screen right now. Seriously, thank you. You guys are awesome. It is much appreciated. And until next time, I guess it's a goodbye.